Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rancho Mirage Library and Observatory. I'd like to take a second and thank our sponsors for this program, Gerald and Lori Ernst. So, thank you very much for your donation. Chef Shannon Bush has been a plant-based chef for over 30 years. She has worked as an executive chef, head baker, caterer, and culinary instructor. She loves to demonstrate the many benefits of plant-based eating and to prove that healthy food can be delicious. Join us to learn how to make a variety of healthy munchies. You'll learn to make some great appetizers that are big enough to share and come away with ideas for treats to keep on hand for healthy at-home snacking. So if everybody can join me in welcoming Chef Shannon Bush.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome. So glad you're all here. You braved the bad air outside to come out of the house, so I appreciate that. And I live in fear of showing up and packing all my goods and then nobody shows up. So thank you. I'm very grateful that you're all here. So thank you for the nice introduction, and also a second thank you to the sponsors that make this possible. I'm very grateful. I don't know if any of you are familiar what it usually costs to attend a cooking class. It's usually a lot more than free. So thanks to the generosity of those folks. They make it possible. So yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about snacking. Everything today is easy to make, nice to have on hand. Most things last several days, so it's the kind of thing you can make and then just munch on it all week. They can also be made into an appetizer if you have a gathering of friends and need something to eat. So many options. Everything's really versatile. The first thing I'm going to start with is what I call hermit bars. So hermit bars are based on a cookie from my childhood memory. There was a local bakery that used to make a cookie called a hermit, and what they did is they took all of the day-old cookies from the day before and they smashed them to bits and threw them in the batter of the hermit dough. So you never knew what you were going to get when you bit into a hermit bar. So my hermit bar doesn't have day-old cookies in it, but I liked the basic idea of the hermit bar. So I've turned it into a snack bar / cookie. As far as cookies go, though, it doesn't have as much added sugar as many cookies do. It relies on molasses and raisins for most of the sweetness. What you do is you actually use a food processor and you grind some raisins down until they form a paste. And that's what gives it a moist texture and a lot of the sweetness. So give me a minute here. We're going to pretend like I didn't leave this one in the oven just a little too long today. And I'm going to trim the edges off of it. I think I left it in about 10 minutes too long, just got a little bit distracted. So don't overcook your hermit bar. The one thing with this is you brown the vegan butter that's in it with your spices. And because it has the warm butter added to the dough, you have to chill the dough before you bake it. Sorry, trying to break the edges off this hard cookie here. All right, we'll just pretend like that never happened. All right, so I'm going to sit this on the platter here, and I'm going to make a quick icing. You can use dates instead of raisins, yes. Yeah, and you can put any kind of dried fruit in here, any kind of nuts, any combination. It's really versatile and flexible, so whatever interests you. So I'm gonna, let's see, have this beautiful fresh tangerine, and I'm gonna squeeze some of the juice into my cup here. And I'm going to use this for the moisture for my icing. Now the rest of the bar doesn't have any orange in it, but somehow this orange icing is a nice complement. So these have a lot of good things too. We've got some flaxseed that provides some omega-3s. We've got molasses, which adds some iron to the mix. And lots of fiber. Come on, there we go. I don't know if I'm doing that. Is that my fault? The scratching, did I? It is me. Sorry, I'll try not to move. All right, I'm gonna add a little powdered sugar. And I'm just going to use a spoon to mix it up. I think I put some ratios down in the recipe. Hopefully I did. Does it just say powdered sugar? Oh, well, how about that? That's not very helpful. Sorry. Did I write that down somewhere? Okay. Oh, gosh. My typist is really unreliable. Yes. So I'm just using a spoon to break up all the powdered sugar, make sure it's nice and smooth. And the thing I love about it is it's full of this beautiful tangerine pulp. And yeah, just about there. So I think what I'll do is take it off of my parchment paper. Oh, I made a mess of my platter with my cutting. Let's start over, right? It's got to look pretty. There we go. All right, so what I'm going to do is ice it first, and then I'll cut it into bars as the icing hardens a little bit. That's why I'm doing it first. I'm going to cut it at the end of class when the icing's had a chance to sit up. All right, so I'm just going to drizzle. Feel free to get creative, but I'm just going to do a back and forth pattern. And then since I have this beautiful tangerine, I'm going to put some of that zest on top and let it harden into the icing. That. Can you smell the tangerine? Try not to get any of your knuckles into the zest. It's easy to do with a zester. But your guests will appreciate that if it's skin-free. Yeah, I'm guilty of that. It has, I have to say. All right. I'll be the first to admit the Hermit is not the prettiest cookie, but if we, add a little color and the icing, it's a lot more pretty to look at. All right, so I'm just going to set that aside, like I mentioned, and we'll slice it a little later on when the icing has had a chance to set up. Where am I going to put it? How about right here? Oh, how about over here? All right. Clean up a little bit. Oh, by the way, that recipe calls for some fresh ginger. And I don't know if you guys have discovered the frozen ginger cubes. Boy, they make life so much easier. Some of them have a bunch of things added with it, but this one that I found at Trader Joe's, it's just ginger, water, and some lemon juice. So, it's frozen. Yeah, they're frozen little individual cubes. Each cube is a teaspoon. So it's, yeah, 2 cubes. Couldn't be easier. This is so pretty, I can't bear to throw it away. I'll put it over there. Thank you. That is from the Midwest, so possibly, if that's what you mean, yeah. I've never seen one offered here in the West Coast. Has anybody else seen something called a hermit bar? Yeah? Ah, okay. Do they look similar, or? Wow. Wow. Sorry, she's saying that she knows a restaurant. Where did you say?
Actually, it's an Italian bakery on Colorado Boulevard in Eagle Rock. Oh. And they sell the hermits. They sell them, I mean, like really inexpensive. They have a big bag and they're all little cookies and stuff. But yeah, right in Eagle Rock.
Oh.
It's not a restaurant, it's an Italian bakery.
Thank you. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's at the store too. So you can find your tomatoes and stuff there too.
Okay.
What's your preferred brand of vegan butter for baking?
I use different ones for different purposes, but for baking, I usually use either the Trader Joe's. They have a block that they sell, and then also the comes in a yellow and brown box. Yes, thank you, Earth Balance. That one's great for baking. That one's pre-measured, so it makes it really easy to just transfer over to a recipe. But just for taste, like if the taste is really going to stand out, like bread and butter, something like that, I'd probably use maybe Miyoko's or, yeah. All right, we're going to switch over to the smashed Persian cucumber salad. So those of you in the front row may rethink your seating choice. I don't know. Sorry. Trying not to touch it. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is make the dressing for it. And I'm making this one now because the longer it sits, the more the flavor gets in the cucumbers. So let's start with some garlic. Brought my garlic press. We'll just do 3 quick cloves. Now, cucumber salad It sounds simple, it is simple, but it's not boring in the least. And there's so many variations. During the summer in our house, we always have some version of this in the fridge. We start with a batch, and then as the cucumbers start to disappear, we chop some more up and throw them in the same batch. Just kind of keep it going for a couple of weeks. It's a great, light, refreshing snack. Certainly good for you. Very hydrating on our hot summer days. And you can just keep changing up the flavor. So this one I chose today is sort of a spicy sesame flavor. And I love to eat these, have a jar in the fridge, and then eat them with like some hummus and crackers. To me, that's just an awesome snack. You can also throw some other things into the dressing, like sliced onion or bell peppers, any kind of vegetable, radishes. So feel free to get creative. Okay, we've got our garlic in there. And the next thing that goes in is some seasoned rice vinegar. And if you're going to try this, make sure you don't buy regular vinegar, rice vinegar. Seasoned rice vinegar has a very different flavor. Tastes very, it's just very flavorful. And it really enhances whatever you put it with. The plain old rice vinegar is just a little bit boring. So you don't want a boring salad, I'm sure. So we need some soy sauce. I'm using a reduced sodium one from Trader Joe's. And let's do a tablespoon of this. And then we're going to put one of my favorite things ever, some coconut aminos in there. Coconut aminos, if you're not familiar with them, it is the nectar from the coconut blossom. And the neat thing about it is that this nectar actually contains all 9 essential amino acids. Yes?
So is that a Trader Joe's as well?
This coconut aminos is from Trader Joe's, yes. Most stores have it. There are several popular brands. Trader Joe's is fantastic, and it's also one of the least expensive ones out there, so I'm a big fan of this one. The other thing that's great, and if you're wondering how to use it like soy sauce. But the great thing is it has significantly less sodium than soy sauce. So for example, because we all need less sodium in our lives, right? So let's see, a tablespoon. So the coconut aminos has 200 milligrams of sodium in a tablespoon. This reduced sodium soy sauce has 530 milligrams in the same quantity. So significantly less, and it still gives a big punch of flavor. And in fact, actually 2 lucky people are going to go home with some bottles of it today. So if you're wondering if you're one of those lucky people, there will be a hand-drawn flower by our artists up there on your back page of your recipe guide. So you might as well, usually you don't know until the end if you're a winner, but I'm going to let you know ahead of time, and you can anticipate and you can plan your route if you're going to run and grab one of those bottles. The question? Sorry. Oh, any more recipes? No more? Okay. Is anybody else short of recipes? Oh, you have a flower? Wonderful. So someone just asked why use soy sauce at all in this recipe. What I elected to do is use half and half. So it has a tablespoon of the soy sauce and a tablespoon of the coconut aminos. The thing with the cucumber salad, the cucumbers are full of water. So as they sit, they release that water. And I think you'll find if we just go straight coconut aminos, it'll feel like it's really needing some salt. So lightens it up a bit by going half and half. That's a good assumption, but that's one of the few things I don't love there. Just being honest. The other brands that you'll find in the other stores tend to have more flavor, in my opinion. But I'm a huge Trader Joe's fan, and most of these things are from there. The rice vinegar happens to be something I get elsewhere. Yes, you can substitute tamari for soy sauce. Absolutely. Liquid aminos. Yep, get creative and experiment. You just want to make sure what you have, your mixture is flavorful. And then the other thing with this salad is if you were to taste it immediately, it might taste like the seasonings are just a little too strong. But if you let it wait even like a half hour as the cucumbers start to release their water, it's going to really thin that. So that's why I start out with it really bold, so it's just right by the time that you actually serve it. Okay, what else do we need in there? So I am putting just a smidge of salt in there. I don't feel like prying the top off and measuring it, so we'll just do a few shakes like so. And then it has a little bit of sugar. And I'm just going to whisk that around, get that vinegar to dissolve it. This is vegan sugar that I used. So if you're new to vegan cooking, it's not that regular sugar has animal products in it, but the issue is that through the processing of regular white sugar, they send it through a gelatin filter to make it bright white and very clean looking. So we all know what gelatin is, right? Okay, I don't need to mention it. Okay. So any organic sugar will automatically be vegan, and then some are sold specifically as vegan. But this is the Trader Joe's organic granulated sugar, and it does not go through that process. What else do we need? So here we go. You have some choices here if you want to add a little kick to it. So one option is chili oil is really great. It's just some oil, and they simmer the chili seeds, and then the seeds are filtered out, leaving behind some of the heat. So that's an easy way to add a little spice. One of my favorite ways is to add some sambal. And sambal is just a ground chili paste. This particular brand with the green cap, they usually sell two options in most stores. There's the regular, and then they also have one that has garlic in it. So both are great. Just going to throw, what did I say, a teaspoon? I'm going to put a teaspoon in. So either the oil, some sambal. You could just slice up a chili pepper. There are several ways to add a little bit of heat, but the sambal is one of my favorite ways. They're both hot. They're pretty similar. Yeah, similar amount of heat. So now, here's another star of the dish, and very simple just to add. This is toasted sesame oil. So you can find regular sesame oil, and you can find toasted in most stores. The toasted has a phenomenal aroma, flavor. It's just fantastic. I use it all the time. And I believe I bought 3 bottles today for 3 lucky people that want to try it out. So now that you know ahead of time if you're a winner or not, and you see something up there you want, I hope nobody gets hurt as you all run and try and grab the door prize that you have your eye on. Let's be nice. And I'm going to add some sesame seeds. Sometimes I add the black sesame seeds. Either type is fine. Just want to make sure my sugar is dissolved, and it looks like it is. A little bit richer, the darker ones, the black ones. They both, I don't know, in a blind taste test, I don't know if you would necessarily know. But I think just for appearance sake, it's nice to kind of mix it up sometimes, or sometimes I put both. So, all right. So here's the part you probably all have been waiting for. We're going to smash some cucumbers. So why smash them, you ask? Well, you don't have to, but it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit messy, but the nice thing about it, and the reason why I bother to do this, is because if you smash them a bit, it opens up all kinds of nooks and crannies on your cucumber, and it allows that flavor from the sauce to really get in there and flavor the cucumber. So that's why it's worth the bother. All I'm going to do is have these little Persian cucumbers. And I'm really hoping somebody wants to go home and make some of these today. I do have 2 packs of them as door prizes. And I'm just going to take this cleaver. Thank you. I hesitated because I think the proper name is a meat mallet, right? But it has never touched any meat, I promise you. So we'll call it a vegetable mallet. So I'm just, whoops, that was a little too much. Sorry about that. Yeah. Yep, I told you, you in the front row might be sorry. And then what I'm going to do is just give them a rough slice. This dish looks really pretty with something red in there. You could even maybe have some cherry tomatoes or little red bell pepper, little red onion, which is actually purple, but would still look nice. That would look nice, some purple cabbage. Yeah, get creative. Just as long as it's not me. That would be embarrassing. So yes, you can just cut these, but you really do, you're able to really infuse the flavor if it's all broken up like this. Okay. I should have worn an apron today. It's worth it. Library staff is going to munch on these later and be glad that I made the mess.
Scoring them with a fork would not get the same value as meat cleaver.
It would, I mean, it would accomplish similar, same thing, but I don't think it'd be nearly as fun. Yeah. You could also use a rolling pin or anything heavy like that. And I suppose somebody that doesn't want to make a mess could probably put some plastic wrap or something over the cucumbers before you whack them. But when you use the Persian cucumbers, the seeds are so minimal, they're almost non-existent. So that's one of the reasons I use this. So I'm actually glad you brought that up about seeding the cucumber. Persian cucumbers you can't always get year-round. So if you want to substitute something else, English cucumbers work great because they're also less seed and more flesh. But if for some reason you get stuck using a regular old cucumber, just seed it. Cut it in half long ways. Take the tip of a small spoon and just run that down the middle and scoop those seeds out. Just a show of hands, I'm curious, who's brand new today to cooking? Oh, fantastic. New to the class. Hopefully not new to cooking. Wonderful, welcome. Really glad you're all here. You don't have to be a plant-based eater. If you just enjoy cooking, learning about new ingredients, new techniques, hopefully there's something for everyone here with this class. At least that's my intent. All right, so these are all set. Yeah, it doesn't take long for the flavor to really infuse the cucumbers. And I'm just going to go ahead and transfer it to a smaller dish.
So when you store them in the refrigerator, do you try to keep the sauce separately because you're saying you're adding more stuff to it, or just keep it all together and just...
Yeah, when I store the cucumbers in the refrigerator, I just keep it all together. I usually use like a big glass mason jar at home for our summer cucumbers. And I just keep adding cucumbers and diced onion or whatever to the mix. But as it gets, thinned out a little too much, then I'll just maybe add a little vinegar to the water, the seasoned rice vinegar, or when it finally gets to be just too flat where it's not really doing anything, then that's when I'll start a fresh batch.
Guess how many times?
Well, I use probably this, a batch will last a couple of weeks if you keep adding cucumbers to it. And then maybe after several days, a splash of the rice vinegar, and then maybe again, and then it's time for a fresh batch. But yeah, they're such a great thing to have on hand as our weather gets warmer here. Very refreshing. Our icing is starting to harden over here. Excellent. And I may have a little bit of cleanup ahead of me. All right, so the next thing I'm going to make is some bean dip and corn salsa. I almost said fresh corn salsa, but I'm actually using frozen organic corn kernels today, so can't call it fresh. All right, so this next dish comes together in the food processor. It's really easy. If only I could find my ingredients. Here they are. I covered them up to keep them cold. So I'm going to start with some drained pinto beans. Black beans work well with this recipe also, just whatever you prefer. So this is a great thing, one of those things that you can take to a party or make it and munch on it for a week. I love to have it on hand and just as a quick snack. We get these tiny little flour tortillas from Trader Joe's, if you've seen those. Just put a big smear of the bean dip on there, heat it in the microwave, and then a big scoop of the fresh or the corn salsa. It makes a nice, quick, healthy snack. Okay. So we need some more garlic. When we were talking about the frozen ginger cubes, I heard somebody mention that Trader Joe's also sells the frozen garlic cubes. So I usually have both on hand, and if you ever have one of those days where you're just feeling a little bit lazy or maybe you're pressed for time, that's when the frozen one comes out.
Do you prefer the garlic cubes over the jarred garlic?
I do. I feel like the jarred, someone asked if I prefer the frozen garlic cubes over the stuff in the jar. I feel like the stuff in the jar just doesn't have a lot of flavor, whereas the frozen ones, they still taste like garlic, in my opinion. All right, we need some jalapeno slices. And you all know your preference or how much you like heat. I'm just going to put 5 rings of pickled jalapeno in here. These aren't crazy hot. They're not bad. So here's one of the stars of this dish. You need, what did I do? I'm trying not to make that scratchy sound. You use the brine that the jalapenos are sitting in. So you can add more or less depending on your taste. And some fresh lime juice. Just going to give it a little roll because it's not all that ripe. There we go. This is going to have remnants of tangerine in it, but that's okay. There we go. There's our lime juice. And we want a little bit of salt. What did I say? ½ teaspoon. Is that about a ½ teaspoon? I think so. And sounds strange, but there's actually just a little pinch, a ½ teaspoon of sugar in here. And I actually couldn't figure out what I was going to put that much sugar in, so I threw it in with the beans ahead of time. So Just want you to know I know what I'm doing up here. I didn't forget something. We added the fresh garlic, but we're going to also add just a little bit of garlic powder. And some granulated onion. No savory recipe would be complete without it. This is actually onion powder because Trader Joe's doesn't sell granulated onion, unfortunately, but so here's a fun ingredient, smoked paprika. It adds color, it adds some depth of flavor, and if you buy the smoked paprika, it adds a little bit of smokiness to your dish. So it adds a really nice little oomph in the background of your dip. I put a range on there because not everybody likes that smoky flavor, so use less if you don't care for it, and more if you really do enjoy that smoky flavor. So and I believe I bought some of this for 2 lucky people today. And a smidge of cayenne. And then I have one last thing that when I first found out about this, I didn't think it was going to catch on. So I never, even though I loved it, I fell in love with it instantly. I've never really talked about it in class because you don't want to hear about this great new product and then you go to buy it and it doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, so I waited this one out and I'm happy to say it's still very available. And the deciding factor in mentioning it today was I was in Target for something else recently and Target has their own version of it. So I thought, okay, if it's made it to Target, it's here to stay. It's garlic spread, and it's basically just garlic whipped with some oil and lemon. And if you are someone that is trying to eat less dairy, a lot of times what people miss when they're giving up dairy, cream, cheeses, is that creamy element that it adds to a meal. And I'm telling you, a little bit of this and you won't miss your dairy. It's a really great product, super versatile. We do everything from put it on burritos to I put it in sauces and dips. I have a friend that likes to dip artichoke hearts in it. They're just, yeah, a lot of things. So I encourage you to give it a try. Now available at Target as well. So I'm going to add just a tablespoon of this. And I'm not going to change what I've already done with the garlic. You might remember I've already added 2 types of garlic. What's one more type? It's okay. It is. This one is from Trader Joe's. And then somebody asked me what kind of oil is used, and the Trader Joe's brand uses canola oil. So I'm not calling it health food, but I am saying that if you need something to help you eat less dairy, you might consider giving it a try. I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, someone is asking where you would find the garlic dip at Trader Joe's. It's right with all of the hummus and dips. Yeah. Ah, the power button, there we go. So just like that, some homemade dip. So I'm going to put this in the bowl, and then we'll make the corn salsa and put that over the top. Because this by itself isn't all that pretty. I can admit that. It's just the color sort of blah, so it needs some stuff added to it. So the salsa will be perfect. And this is one of those things where as it sits, the flavors really meld with the, throughout the dip. It tastes much better if you let it sit. So maybe if you're going to make this for a party or even for yourself, make it and let it refrigerate overnight. And it'll be more flavorful the next day. So I'm just going to put that in there. And now we'll make the salsa. And what was I going to mix my salsa in? Maybe one of these. If you're looking for a hummus recipe to pair with the cucumbers or even the salsa, we've made hummus in here quite a few times. So I don't know if you know or not, but the Rancho Mirage Library has a YouTube channel, and they record all of these lectures and series that happen here. So there's a huge archive of shows you can go back and watch. So not just this one, but anything. It's incredible. And that's why they have professional staff up there. They are hard at work getting this ready to release onto YouTube. Yay. They do a great job. And they're fast, too. You usually have this one available like within an hour or something?
Yeah, we're live right now.
Oh, well, super. Whoops. Yeah, very impressive. So corn, as I mentioned earlier, it's not really in season, so I've used the organic corn kernels, frozen corn kernels. But if it's summertime and you make this, just buy some fresh ears of corn and just shave them off the cob, and oh, it'll taste delicious. You don't. So they're basically going in a vinegar bath. So, yep, it works great. Okay. So I'm going to chop up a little cilantro and put it in there. So the cilantro, liking cilantro is quite interesting. Have any of you read about that? How it's genetically, yeah. So is anybody one of those people that absolutely can't stand cilantro? Ah. Yep. I've read about people like you. No. Easy to omit the cilantro because it already has some green in it. Ooh, that's a lot of work.
You're okay with just with the stem and all?
Absolutely. So yes, my background is not French cooking, where every little parsley leaf or whatever is. Yeah. No, and I mean, the stems, they add some crisp and crunch to the bite. They also are filled with the nutrients that are in the leaves. I mean, why leave them out? They add something. And it's a lot easier. It absolutely does take a long time to pull each little leaf off, so don't bother. Okay, we're going to put a small tomato in there. I chose this Roma tomato, and it really doesn't matter, but these are very sturdy. They hold up really well. So I thought that would be appropriate for this fresh salsa. But feel free to use whatever you have. Oops. So as some of you know, because some of you are going with me, we're going to go take a little foodies tour of Japan in May. And one of the things I am really excited to do, one of many things, is get another knife. Can't have too many good knives. So this particular knife that I'm using, it's a Santoku blade. And it's such a versatile, great all-purpose knife. It's wide, it's sharp, it's sturdy. But a girl can't have too many knives, so. In the checked luggage. You can bring knives home in checked luggage. So I've warned people on the trip to make sure you have a suitcase that you're checking. Well, since I'm going to be buying a new knife, and the way our itinerary is set is, I believe the second day of the trip, we will be in the kitchen lovers shopping area, or food lovers shopping area, where they have every tool you could possibly want for your kitchen and more. So I'll buy one and I'll have one to use, and then I'll just pack it up to take home, bring home. Oh. Most things I buy there. Yeah, there's a few things that I'll take with me, but for the most part, I really enjoy grocery shopping in Japan. It is such a treat. It's so different than here. One of the first things you'll notice, which I think is so interesting, is like in Tokyo, the homes are very small. So you don't do a Costco run and buy $400 worth of groceries because you don't have a pantry. But shopping is more a daily thing. It's part of the daily routine. And so when you go to the store and you see how produce is bundled, like for instance, iceberg lettuce, they quarter it. And so you can just buy a quarter of the head of lettuce instead of buying the whole head. So I love it because you're always eating fresh. It's a pure joy for me to grocery shop there. The other thing I love is that it's a different world there. Before I forget, does everybody know the little avocado trick? If you take this little nub, this little stem off, And what it looks like under the stem is what your interior is going to look like. So if you're at the store and you need a good avocado, you can pry this little guy off and you'll know. You won't accidentally get home with a bad one. But with the produce, like, the one thing I really love is the onions are already peeled. I hate peeling onions. So somebody's already done all of that. So you buy them, they're just ready to wash and chop up. The other thing I love is that there's so much respect in the society. Like if you're a store with bruised fruit or bruised vegetables, they don't put it out. They wouldn't disrespect you by having you buy something that's, bruised or blemished. They take great care with everything. It's so different than what we're used to. You can bring non-perishables back. Is there something you want me to bring you? Is there something in particular? I love to bring spices back. I love to bring different kinds of noodles. They make so many great things like soba noodles, green tea noodles, all kinds of great things. What's that? Oh, green tea ice cream. Well, I don't think it would travel well, but so I think I'm going to use the mandolin on these, on the jalapeno. Thank you, yes. No knuckles, no fingertips. That's right. I've seen the mesh gloves, yeah. The trick is not to let your little piece of something get too small. And then they do come with a little plastic thing that you can use to keep it safe, but that's a lot of work. I won't put too many jalapenos in there, just enough to give it a little color and texture. Okay, what am I missing? Yeah, we'll just do a smidge of salt and pepper. And then, once again, the seasoned rice and vinegar. Yeah. Healthy, fresh, colorful. It's a good reminder to eat your colors. Food should be colorful. Not only does it look more appetizing, but remember that the different colors that you see in the food represent different nutrients. So if you're eating a variety of colors with your meal, you're getting a variety of the nutrients that your body needs. Don't be one of those people that gets stuck in a rut and goes and buys the 3 same vegetables every week, and that's that. Branch out. Try some new colors.
I think you take the seeds out of the jalapenos.
I didn't because I decided to use the mandolin to make it look pretty. But seeding the jalapeno is a good way to take some of the heat out of it. I suspect this one isn't that hot, so I wasn't too worried about it because I don't smell the heat. But so I kept it whole. All right, so I'm just putting this with the bean dip, add some color, texture. and some additional flavors to the dip. Nice and healthy.
Can they be stored together?
I wouldn't. I would keep them separate rather than storing them together. Oh. Did anybody notice I didn't put the avocado in? Oh. Somebody's asleep at the wheel. I think it was me. I'm going to add a little bit more vinegar so that the avocado gets some vinegar on it to help preserve it. What's that? Yeah, it reacts with the air, but the vinegar will really help. All right, so let's just put a bunch of avocado chunks on top and pretend like they're mixed all through the corn. It's our little secret, right? There we go. So we'll make a nice little platter for the library staff. And they're special, so they get two kinds of chips today, my two favorites. I love the blue corn chips, and I also like these organic corn chips that are nice and sturdy. So there's that. Little extra corn. How am I doing on time? Can anybody? Okay. Nobody in a hurry today, hopefully? All right. So the next thing is something I had to pre-bake at home. And this is a creamy buffalo artichoke dip. And I realized that by making it at home, you can't see what it looks like. So I saved a little bit of it. It's creamy, smooth. It's light. It just has a wonderful texture. So I'm going to put it on a platter. Oh, sorry, I'm running late. Some people had to leave. I'm so sorry. I really thought I was moving along today, but I guess not. So I'm going to put this on a platter, and I'll put some crackers around one side of it. And then I have a variety of veggies, but I want to get the topping on there. I'm so sorry for those of you that have to leave. I'll try and hurry. See if I can do this. All right. So I'm going to add some green onion and diced tomato to the top because it needs a little color. And I went to harvest a green onion today from my little patio garden. And I was so excited at this guy that I brought the whole thing. So every once in a while when I have green onions, I'll take just the little top that you trim off with the roots, and I'll stick it in one of my pots in the patio. And they grow so quickly. It's really impressive. They'll start growing within a couple of days. And to harvest them, just snip them off with some scissors and leave the little root part in the dirt, and it'll regrow, and it'll just keep going. All right, there's that. All right, so some greenery, some diced tomato. So if you make this buffalo dip, don't overcook it. It's very healthy. It doesn't have any kind of fat in it. And so if you overcook it, it's going to dry out because it has nothing to keep it moist. So basically all you want to do is brown the breadcrumbs and just make sure it's heated all the way through, but you don't have to truly cook it. So just a word of warning. What's that?
It says 25 minutes.
Yeah, about 25 minutes to brown the breadcrumbs. So it's great with vegetable sticks, and it's great with crackers. Pieces of a crusty baguette would be very nice with it. And again, it's one of those things, you can take it to a party, or you can make it and munch on it all week. All right, there we go.
How hot is the buffalo sauce? How spicy?
Well, by itself, the buffalo sauce is pretty spicy, but when it's with all of the other ingredients, it really mellows it quite a bit, and it really just adds more of like a tanginess than actual, just pure heat. So I recommend trying it. Maybe use a little bit less if you're worried about the heat, but it's quite tasty. All right. Yes, it adds an important flavor. The yeast and the lemon juice combine to make sort of a cheesy flavor. Yes. So, all right, I won't make you stay while I slice all of these, but I just wanted to cut a few of them and show you what they look like, these bars. You can kind of, similar shape to biscotti. Yeah, but that's what those are all about. But thank you so much for coming, everybody. Thank you. I do hope to see you next month. We have next month and then back again in May. So hope to see you all. Yeah. Yep.